What's going on, guys? This is Restless Corpse from VirtualBromance. This is day 32 of 365 games, and day 32 I'm playing Soul Calibur on the Xbox. Now, I was a giant fan of Soul Edge on PlayStation 1, and I played, tons and tons of hours of this game over and over and over with every character and whatnot. So when Soul Calibur came out, I was really excited. I bought the Dreamcast pretty much just to play Soul Calibur. There were other couple good games on the Dreamcast. It was actually a really good system, and I'm kind of sad that it didn't make it. But Soul Calibur was one of my first purchases. Now, back then, when I was 18, I moved out of my family home, I guess you could call it, and into a townhouse in Sugar Land, Texas, with my best friend from high school at the time. And we both worked at a movie theater. I was a projectionist, and he, was an usher or whatever. But there were just a lot of people our age that worked there. So every weekend we'd have these giant parties at the apartment. I didn't even drink back then, but we always had, the fridge stocked with liquor, and some of the people that hung out with us were of age, so that's kind of how we got it. But these parties always turned into just a giant Soul Calibur tournament thing every time. Like we would all hang out, listen to music, and then break out the Dreamcast, and we had a giant sectional couch that everybody just sat around and passed the controller back and forth, and it was such an awesome time. And it got to the point where we had rivalries among our friends. We would talk shit. It was amazing. It was some of the greatest times I've ever had playing video games. And when Soul Calibur 2 came out, now I've talked about this in a previous video, but I played the shit out of it on the arcade. There was the Conquest mode. I loved it. I played a lot of it. But around that time, it was only out on the arcade, so all my friends at the time that I met from playing Soul Calibur 2 on the arcade, we would sit around again in my apartment there. This was when I lived in Ohio, and we would just sit there, and first of all, we'd play a shit ton of the Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer. It was before Halo 2 came out. And we would talk about how awesome Halo would be, playing online, because back then you couldn't, obviously there was no online consoles. And then when Halo 2 came out, it was on the first generation of Xbox Live. I was kind of I didn't play it. But anyway, I digress. So we would play, a shit ton of Soul Calibur at the house in Ohio, and it was really difficult because my character of choice is Mitsurugi, as you can see here, and the controls were a lot different. The combos, anyway, were a lot different between Soul Calibur and Soul Calibur 2, so it was really interesting having these, battles at home, and then we would go play in the arcade and have completely different combos and stuff like that. I believe the Flying Lotus, I think it's called, the one that I start out with a lot, where he does the two upper attacks that you can pause between, and it juggles them. I don't think Soul Calibur 2 had that. You had the one from the standing, but not the one from running. So it was, it was a really good time, and to this day I still love the first Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur 2, in my opinion, is the best one, but it's really followed closely by the first Soul Calibur. And I think Soul Calibur 2 is only better just because of the Conquest mode, which has never been on the console. And I talked about the Soul Calibur 2 HD Online possibly having it, or at least I hope it's going to have it. But I think that might be the only reason it was better. There were pretty good characters, or a few pretty good characters, like Raphael. Raphael was a really good counter character. which I got to use pretty well on the consoles. And I wasn't really a big fan of Ivy in the first one. I mean, she looks cool. She has a cool sword. And she had some pretty good moves. But in Soul Calibur 2 is really when I started using Ivy a lot. And in the Conquest mode, my second... And I only had 2 characters that I played. And it was Mitsurugi and Ivy. But... when it comes to just Soul Calibur, like right here, I'm playing a survival mode just because I was trying to see how far I could get, and I got up to 21 wins, and I did something stupid. I don't think the video is going to get that long, but I was really wailing on Huang, and I knocked him down close to the edge and tried to do a running like slide attack to knock him out, and I missed him and fell off the edge myself. So I still had full health when it happened, and it was ridiculous. In any case, you know, Soul Calibur, one of the greatest fighting games ever made. I've always just, you know, I never really could get into Tekken. I thought it played pretty slow, at least the earlier ones. Maybe the newer ones don't. I don't know. But I couldn't really get into Tekken. I was into Street Fighter 2 back when it was on the arcade, and I played it on SNES a lot, but I never really got into the Street Fighter 2 Turbo and all that crap, and I still haven't played Street Fighter 3. But you know, I don't know why I like Soul Calibur more than any other fighting game. It might be like just the weapons and the cool flashy moves, I guess. Like is one of the reasons why I like Mitsurugi so much, is a lot of his moves are really flashy, and you know, like Maxi has some pretty flashy moves, but I just really could never get into him. Every time I played Maxi, I felt like I was just button mashing. Where, you know, Mitsurugi, Ivy, I know the combos and I know things that work well for me, and you know, I'm not sitting there just mashing buttons. In any case, this I'm gonna go ahead and to end this here. Well, maybe I'll wait a little bit just to see my epic fail at the end. I don't know if the Xbox version of Soul Calibur has like an online multiplayer. I'm pretty sure you can play it locally. Maybe I'll get Providence in here to play a couple games. I don't know if he's ever played Soul Calibur. I think the only fighting game I've ever played with Providence was Guilty Gear, and we should totally do a Guilty Gear episode, because Guilty Gear is pretty sweet as well. In any case, this was day 32 of the 365 games. I'm Restless Corpse. Go ahead and, you know, rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
You win! Versus final battle, fight!